What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? I don't know why in my head I just heard E40's head. E40's head. Freudian slip. I just heard E40 in my mind. Testing, testing, one, two. I don't know why that just came to me. It's just, I don't know what's going on with me. Peace and love. How y'all doing? What's good? Good evening. It is 9:17. Oh, it's 9:17. Damn. It's 9:17 Pacific Standard Time. I pray you guys are doing well. Let me just make a note to myself real quick. I just want to tap in and see how you guys are doing. I'm going to try to do lives a little bit more often, more consistently, but they're going to be shorter lives just to tap in and see what you guys got going on, and then also to update you guys with what I have going on. February is going to be a busy month for me for Black History Month, so I'm gearing up for that. And I was just sitting here working, and I shot a very short, like 2 minutes, 30-second video clip that I'm going to be posting on Instagram and Facebook about the updated version, the paperback version of Ancient People. And I'm going to show you guys that in just a second, but I wanted to go live real quick and just tap in and see how you guys are doing, what the vibe is, and to keep the algorithm working in my favor for that time that's going to be approaching soon. I'm thinking it's probably going to be around March where I start, reactivating my membership channel, which means that I'll be doing a lot more content for my members on my website, as well as for my members on YouTube. So I am gearing myself up for that, stepping my game up in terms of my production and all of the things. It takes a lot of work to do this. I know if you don't create content, you might not realize, just the fact to sit down and like actually hold space and to, it's one thing to just sit here and talk, but to run this whole thing and to be consistent with posting content, it takes a lot of time and energy and work. And so I hope you guys understand that, because there's a lot of other things that I do need to do, which I have been doing, which is why I haven't been posting content, and which is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this month, as well as for February, to really gear up, because 2026 is going to be a very abundantly successful year for me. And so I'm in preparation of that. What's good, family? How are y'all doing? Let's see. Let me tap in with the chat room real quick. What's up, ZaZa? What's up, Darius? How you doing? Peace, Diana. How you doing? What's up, Jeff? How you doing? I love your hairstyle, ZaZa. Thank you. This is I'm working on my mohawk game, so I haven't perfected it quite yet, but this is a work in progress. So I'm trying to work around that regrowing stage where it's kind of like nothing you can do with your hair, but I'm gonna make it work, and I'm going to really take care of my hair intentionally this time around so that it can grow and be long and curly and vibrant and beautiful. Probably more intentionally this time around than I ever have. So I'm going to work on some styles that complement, this middle ground space that I'm in with the regrow process. So yeah, this is my makeshift mohawk, but I need to do a little more to it. I should have pulled the sides back there. And then I don't like big hair, so we'll see. We'll work it out. I'll work it out. But yeah, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. I love you. So, okay. Hello, Goddess. Peace and love. How you doing? Hey, Big Six, much love. Hopefully you got my email about my order. Ideal. And I did, and will be responding to you accordingly. Evening, Queen. Blessed to see you. We love the hair. I think that's what you meant to say. Where have I been? I have been in the trenches of working and studying and reflecting and working on myself and staying balanced and staying centered. That's where I've been. I moved into my place, my new place, which was a lot centered around that. But I love where I am. I love the neighborhood. I love the environment around where I'm at. This is Black LA, which is exactly where I wanted to be. I got great neighbors. It's a good vibe, all of those things. And this is the perfect place for me to be because it's so central to everything in LA. But then when the summer comes around, that's when, it's LA, so we don't really get that too much cold weather. We had some wonderful weather for like two weeks straight. But when the summer come around and those 80-day, everyday days start to hit, that's when it's really gonna be like, yeah, I'm in a Friday movie for real. But I love LA, so I'm happy and excited that spring is getting ready to be here. Spring is going to be warm anyway, so spring, summer, all of that. I'm a tropical environment girl. I need sunshine. I need warm weather. I need palm trees. I need the beach within a certain distance. I need my people around me, and so LA affords me all of that. Of course, I have issues with the city as well, but we won't get into any of that. So much love to you guys in the chat room. Beautiful goddess Zaza. Thank you so much. Jaymon, Nelton, I got you. Clove water will make your hair grow fast. Yeah, I have a couple of things that I'm working with. I've been telling you guys about the bentonite clay, apple cider vinegar, and coconut oil hair mask that I've been using since forever. I never used it intentionally to grow my hair. I just used it to make my hair full and thick and vibrant. But that clay mask hits different, I'm telling you. And you know, when you get braids, if they're tight, braids are going to naturally like thin out the sides of your hair. But that mask, because last time I got my hair braided, I put the mask on before because I was noticing some thinning in certain areas of my hair. And when I tell you that all of my edges grew back in full force just from that one time using the mask. So I mean, I don't know when I want to get my hair rebraided, but I'm not sure when I'm going to do that yet. But that hair mask is going to be a weekly routine for me, as well as some other stuff that I'm doing. I have a habit of when my hair is short, I wash it a lot, and that cannot be healthy for your hair, depending on, you know, how much you wash it and then what the products you put in it when you wash it. So yeah, but that bentonite clay, apple cider vinegar, and coconut oil mask, game changer. Yes, but thank you for that. I appreciate that information. Most of Southern California is nice. Yeah, I'm a Cali girl all day. It's just when I left Atlanta and came back, it was like my spirit was like woosah. You know, I'm not gonna be here forever, but I am definitely where I need to be right now. So I want to show you guys something because I talked about this in my last live, right? Okay, so you can see the original. Neither of these are the original, actually. This is like, I think I have, with these two proofs, I think I'm at like 11 or 12 proofs at this point. With the workbook, I have 2 workbook proofs, so it might be 13 at this point. But yeah, I have finalized the paperback version. And if you have the paperback version, or if you've seen me promoting the other ones, you will know that this book is very, very different. Very, very different, right, than the original paperback version. But you can see the beautiful turquoise coloring, okay? And I changed the color of the font. I changed the color of a lot of the images on the front. You can see the adinkra symbols there on the side, right? And I'm sure that my wonderful educated audience knows what the adinkra symbols are and knows what these adinkra symbols mean. And so you'll know that this particular symbol is important in terms of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is what I'm all about. So this is the final version of the paperback. And this book has a lower price point. Particularly, this is the book that I'm really going to be pushing for the direct to consumer market. So homeschooling parents, you know, education and knowledge lovers such as myself, history lovers, all of the things. This book is set at a price point that makes it affordable for you. And then you can also get the accompanying workbook. And if you're a homeschooling parent, you can get 1 textbook and 1 workbook, and you can literally teach your tribe or your children or your family from both of those books, because obviously with the workbook, you can just make copies of the images and then that can go for forever, right? It's very intentional the way that I set that up. But man, this book is so pretty, y'all. It's like, mwah. It's so physically stunning. If you want to know who I am, if you want to get an idea of who my personality, these books are a really, really good reflection because they are beautiful, they are colorful, they are professional, they are well-researched, well-studied, just all of the things. I'm so freaking proud of myself, man. I really want to give myself a hug right now. I mean, you know, I hug myself all the time. Nothing weird. But I'm so proud of myself because I have created something and some things that are going to withstand the test of time and like just totally cement my legacy and give our children and our young people and all of our people around the world who need historical context, who need to be able to see themselves in full color, who need to have a better perspective of how we got to the point that we are now. Well, I've done my job, family. I have absolutely 1000% done my part. And again, this book is particularly for the direct to consumer element of what's that direct to consumer, and then the textbook is going to be more so anybody can buy the textbook obviously, but I created these two separate books so that there will be a lower affordable price point for all of us, and then the textbook is that book if you want to have the tabletop version or for schools. I'm working on LAUSD right now, y'all. I'm working on LAUSD. I have 2 events set up right so far for Black History Month here in Los Angeles, and they're for the schools, so I'm not going to tell you guys where they're at, but I am going to be recording footage so I can show you how I'm have all the things that I'm doing. And I'm super excited about that because, yeah, it's going to be beautiful. So I have 2 events set up so far at high schools in LA for February. I have not Simply Wholesome. I'm working on Simply Wholesome. I didn't mean to say that. Baba's Vegan Cafe. I need to tap in with Wose if he's watching. You still whoop the whoop. What does that even mean? Sorry. Yeah. I'm still working on, what was I saying? Wose, if you're watching, because I was supposed to call him the other day. That's my bad. I'm so terrible at, yeah. But I'm working on February 7th for Baba's Vegan Cafe. And if we do February 7th, it's going to be a special Black History Month edition. And so we'll be able to talk about ancient people, obviously. But then my next book, which I've told you guys, Black Legacy, 100 Years of Black History in America. This is all stuff I've been studying for 20 years. So yes, I'm going to write the book, but from the Black Panthers to the Nation of Islam, Benjamin Banneker, God, my brain just froze. But Black history is like, I have a scroll in my mind to be able to, give context and to talk about those things. And then current history, because we write history in advance. That's why I'm a writer. And if we write history in advance, not just as, writers and content creators, poets and artists, but also in our individual lives, we're all writing history in advance. So what history, what prophecy, what legacy are you writing with the way that you think and the way that you act and the way that you treat yourself? And I am absolutely 1000% striving for greatness. That's where I'm at right now. I'm going to absolutely change the publishing game. There's been a lot of content floating around about the Thomas Hill McGraw publishing company and how the Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and her father and that whole connection and how they used that particular company, which creates textbooks, which would probably created 50% of the textbooks when I was in school. I remember it for sure. So these are institutions that are billion-dollar industries, right? There's 10 of them. I put my pitch deck together. I've done all the knowledge. I done already looked into all of it, right? I know what they're making. I know how they are in all of the systems, in the school systems, and how they have used education and the school system to dim our light. And to feed us lies and to keep us locked in this low vibrational lack-based consciousness. And so I specifically chose cultures and historical figures and legends that were scholars, that were warriors, that were intelligent, that were proud, that, you know what I mean? Like the flex of it all, the beautiful showcasing of it all in Moorish Spain, the beauty of the architecture and the tiles and the sacred geometry and the landscape and all of the things. It's just so fast. I'm a nerd, I'm a professional nerd, family. So the textbooks of this world are getting ready to get set down, even if it's just in an allegorical way, right? That is my intention. That's my competition. So in my pitch deck, when I put, there's a section for you to put list your competitors. Yeah, I'm coming for you. You know what I mean? On a global level. And so this is by me perfecting these books now, because I started in a certain space. I only had one book at first, a hardcover version and a paperback version, The Spiral Spine. And now I have two finalized versions, the paperback and the hardcover version. And I guarantee you, I will put my book next to any book that any of these companies have created. I don't care which one. I don't care what they talked about. If they're talking about history, I put my shit right next to them and go line for line, word for word, bar for bar. So I intentionally raised the standard on myself in terms of my production, in terms of, what I'm actually putting out into the world. Every one of my books, I got better and better and better. So Black Matters Volume 1, Black Matters Volume 2, Black Matters Volume 3, but that's another story. The Science of Sex was my first workbook. The Science of Self, the Mind, was my second. Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance. Keys to Womanhood, what every young lady and woman should know. So every book has gotten better. They've gotten prettier. They've gotten better with details, better with resources, better with information. And so I can only go up from here. We can only go up from here. Next month is Black History Month. And like I said, I'm filling up my calendar now and working and doing all of the things. I'll be doing a lot more interviews and just making myself a lot more available, because at the same time that we have this parallel of ignorance, and, I saw somebody put up a post that said Trump didn't even say anything about Martin Luther King Day and the celebration of it. And, it's like natural for the president to sort of acknowledge certain cultural icons, and he didn't say anything. Well, I'm so past complaining about what these people are doing and not doing. So when we say we're tired of talking about the problems, what's the solution? I have created many solutions for you, beautiful people. Okay. So for the next 3 days, and this is not the only thing I'm going to talk about. I want to tap in with you guys in the chat room and just touch bases on a few other things. For the next 3 days, I'm running a sale for the paperback version. This is in pre-print production right now, okay? So I have the next 3 days, I'm going to be fine-tuning and finishing this manuscript, because I do have some updates that I need to make, because the formatting for the hardcover versus the paperback, there's little nuances. And most people wouldn't even see it, but I see it. So I have to go in and kind of clean up some of the nuances, the spaces and whatnot, and make sure that the book is cohesive and flows. So for the next 3 days, this book is on sale for $88. And the regular retail price is $111. So that's $90, that's $21, that's $23 savings. And then if you want to save an extra $8, you can send me your payment via Cash App, which my Cash App information is in the description. And then once your order is ready to be processed, I'll just send it to you and you won't have to pay for any shipping. So the paperback version is on sale for $88 right now. The hardcover version is on sale for, I think it's $99, or maybe it's $111. It's either or. That sale is going to be good for the next 3 days. And if you want to save an additional $8, hit me up on Cash App and then send me your receipt at info@ZaZaAli.com. And then I'll either get the hardcover out to you right away, or I will send you an email confirmation for the paperback version, and then we'll go from there. And then I also have the workbook, which has also been a work in progress, because it's hard to finalize this version of the book until the textbooks are completely finalized, because everything has to add up. It's like making a puzzle, creating 3 puzzles, actually. So yeah, Black History Month is next month, and I'm all about Black culture. I'm all about Black love, Black beauty, Black power, Black knowledge, Black wisdom and understanding, Black militancy, Black spirituality, all of the things, even though I know spirituality isn't Black. But going back to the point that I always reference from the Kabbalion, the closer you are to the center, the freer you are, and the further you are away from it, the more in bondage you are. And since we are the original people of the planet Earth, original meaning the first ones, mothers and fathers of civilization, then yeah, we are closer to the Most High in our original state of mind and state of being. Now, those of us who have fallen away from that original greatness, that's another story to be had for another time. But I'm just saying. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so freaking proud of myself, y'all. this has been the longest, most arduous, most, oh my God, this book has stretched me out in 1,000 ways. But that's why I'm going to sell 100,000 copies. That's my initial goal, to sell 100,000 copies of Ancient People. And that's going to solidify me in as far as financially. And then from there, please, I'm going to light y'all up with books and with content. It's you know, you guys aren't going to see a lot of me online when I go back into the zone of my next book, because I love the creation process so much. I love the creation and bringing something from a thought in your mind into physical reality. That's just the flyest shit ever. And it's literally what we came here for. So I'm doing my part and I'm contributing my part, you know? So you guys make sure you support my work, support my efforts, because we always talk about the problems and what are the solutions. I'm a walking, talking, living solution. I'm doing my part, right? So yeah. And I said Wose's, Baba's Vegan Cafe, February 7th. And then I've got the 2 high schools here in Los Angeles. I'm working on one of the universities here, but I'll confirm that when it's confirmed. And then I'm also working on an event for girls in March, based around my Keys to Womanhood workbook, whatever girl and young lady should know. And that will be SO, folks. And so I will have the date for that pending. And so, yeah, was that all of my announcements? I think so. Okay. And thank you to you guys that have already purchased the books. Thank you for purchasing my workbooks. Thank you for purchasing my books. Thank you to you guys that still respect and love literacy, that still advocate for reading, that still advocate for knowledge. You know, I'm a knowledge and wisdom seeker. I probably came out the womb and was like, pass me a pen or a book. You know, might have been Dr. Seuss, I don't know, but pass me a pen or a book so I could get busy. I've been this way since forever. And I told you guys when I was 11, my dad took me to a modeling agency because I went through this major growth spurt where I just went from being like average size to being really slim and tall overnight. And everybody's like, you should be a model, you should be a model, you should be a model. So I had my dad take me to a modeling agency in San Francisco. And I did not like the experience. I didn't like the vibe. And so when we got in the car, I told my dad, because he was like, it's a lot of money, but if you want to do it, you know, we can do it. You can go for it. And I was like, nah, I think I want to be known for my mind. I said that at 11 years old. Okay. So I prophesized what was to come. And so here we are, me putting my mind out into the world. That's the conversation in terms of me coming and having these conversations with you guys. That's my books that I produce and write. That is, all of the things that I do, me going out and doing my presentations and my lectures and my workshops and the books that I read, the books that I collect, like all the things. I just love knowledge. I love expansion. I love creativity. I love progress. I love forward momentum. So every time I create a book, I always have this moment where when that proof comes in, when that first proof comes in, it's just the most wonderful, beautiful, magnetic, powerful feeling and experience. And so that's why I'm smiling. That's why I'm glowing. Because I've had this book now for about a week, but I've been living with it and, you know, kind of living with it and on a day-to-day basis and seeing how the pages crease. And, you know, when you turn the page and it's a lot to it. But yeah, that's my nerd expose for the moment, you know. The Ancient Future would be a great title for your next book. That's actually a great title. My next book is going to be Black Legacy, 100 Years of Black History in America. And then I'm also going to be doing Black Matters Volume 3, because it's just one of those things that's like piercing my brain. And Black Matters Volume 3 is going to be, originally it was Lifting the Veil on Racism, White Supremacy, but Black Matters Volume 3 is going to be The Gods Are at War. And part of it is going to be exposing 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, right? Exposing that whole fiasco and the way they played us. Is partially going to be that. It's going to be the end of the concept of racism, white supremacy. It's going to be the chosen ones choose themselves, right? It's going to be a balance of exposing certain elements of what's happening and what they're planning, but then also the spiritual aspect and the bigger picture of what this means. Because we are living in, man, I hope you guys are still here at the end of 2026. I hope we still have access to communicate in 2027 so we can live through this together, experience it together, empower one another together, keep the love frequency and the love vibration active together, because I'm still going to be on my square, whether I'm online or whether I'm not. And again, once I go back into the lab and start my next book, I'm not going to be creating a lot of content because I'm going to be in the zone. So that's why I'm doing this big push for the textbook right now. And again, if you're just coming in, I have a major sale going on my website right now for the paperback version, which I have the final version here. Very beautiful, very regal. You see that beautiful jade color, right? So this version is on sale, and then the hardcover version is also on sale. So you guys should take advantage of this, because once everything is set in stone and I've done all of the pre-printing, I've done all of the things, then the retail price is just going to be the retail price. The paperback version retails for $111. It's on sale right now for $88. The hardcover version retails for $144. It's on sale on my website right now for, I think it's $111, but it might even be $99. And if it is $99, then I'm going to go and correct that to $111. So you can actually go purchase your copy now and take advantage of that. And then the hardcover version will ship right away. So you'll get that probably before Black History Month. And then maybe you can sit around the table and talk to your sons and daughters, or to your wife, or to your loved ones about Sakanuye no Tamaramaru and Yasuke, the African samurai, and Queen Amana Shiketo and Amana Reynes, and Napata and Merowe and Axum and Kerma, and Pharaoh Hatshepsut, right? Simit, the great architect, Al-Andalus and Granada and Cordoba, the astronomy of the Moors in Spain, the men of the East, the Ainu, right? The original indigenous black skin, dark skin, Jomon of Japan, the Yihuatuan Boxer Rebellion, right? Fudomayo, and Bodhidharma, right? Who a lot of people think was an Asian man, or that he came from Asia. He was actually a dark-skinned Indian man. Queen Liliuokalani, King Kalakaua, the ancient Polynesians, Tasmania, Samoa, Fiji, Easter Island. Your girl is a full-fledged, certified, bona fide historian and scholar. Okay? And I'm just saying, because I'm excited and because it's true, So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about this year. I just know everything is just about to break wide for me. And then one day I'm going to be sitting here, or maybe I'll be somewhere around the world, and I'll be telling you guys, we hit that $100,000 mark. I've sold 100,000 copies of Ancient People. And now the number of people that I'm going to help, the type of service that I'm able to do, the production of my work, my books, my inventory, everything is going to really, really increase. Because I'll be financially secure, and then I can really sit back and create from a place of abundance and from a place of clarity and passion and creativity, which is what I did in Ancient People Volume 1 anyway. So let me tap in with you guys in the chat room real quick, see what's going on. Nicole, peace and love, sis. How you doing? I got your email and I got you. I would love to see the world through your eyes. You judge things well. Thank you. That's what we do every time we connect. That's what the Walk With Me's are about. And just so you can see the world through my eyes, to see just the physical environment, yes, but how I'm like navigating, how I see things, how I experience things. And I'll be doing more Walk With Me's, in the coming days. Once I finalize this paperback version, the manuscript of it, because I do need to fix a few things, a few bells and whistles or whatnot, but I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you guys are interested in my thoughts. That's the flyest shit ever to me. I appreciate the fact that I can turn on my camera and have people show up and listen and are interested in my perspectives about things and whatnot. I never, ever, ever take that for granted. And if 10 people are watching me, or if 5,000 people are watching, it doesn't matter. The fact that you actually are interested in my nerdy, compartmentalizing, complex, deep you know, analysis and the way my mind works and the way that I think is so fly to me, and I'll never take that for granted. So yeah, much love. I appreciate you for that. Thank you for being proud of me, Diana. I appreciate you. Thank you for the compliment on my hair, Joseph. Much love. I went to Westchester High School. Yes, I am familiar with Westchester. And again, 2 high schools out here. Yeah, it's going to be a big deal because I'm good. I'm great with young people. I just am. I know how to, I'm great with young people. So it's going to be a beautiful experience. I'm going to record it and have plenty of content to show you guys the experience and going into the heart of, I'll go into any schools, but for me to go into the schools where our young people are, the young ones that people don't feel like they can connect with or that they've given up on, or, gold teeth, sagging pants, purple hair, lashes, all of the things. Like, yeah, put them in a room with me and then let me have them, and I can work wonders. And that's also with the Keys to Womanhood workshop that I'm going to be doing here in LA. 50 girls, 50 local girls between the age of 13 and 21, girls and young women, is who I'm going to be working to do that workshop and that experience for. And we're going to be sponsoring them. It's going to be a wonderful, major event. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh my goodness, how many concepts we going to relate to y'all? I'm not sure what that means. I love the passion, big sis. Thank you so much, Nelton. I appreciate you. Law Za, what does that mean? Darius, help me out here. I want to make sure I'm clear before I take my sword out on you. Just kidding. Peace, Malik, what's good? Peace to the God, how you doing? Peace, DB Ballard, what's good? How you doing? Lumiere, I think I'm saying that right. How you doing, my brother? I was just telling them that I'm working on February 7th for a Black History event at Baba's. So hopefully we'll be able to see you there if you're who I think you are. Those books would make some beautiful shirts. And I'm also, should I say this out loud? Maybe I've said it. Well, I can say it out loud because I'm not worried about nobody stealing my ideas. I have the name of the company already in my brain, but I'm not going to say that out loud. Or the brand. I am eventually going to create a yoga sportswear line, and I'm going to use the color schemes and the historical figures and these different historical references that I use in the book, and particularly the color scheme and the divine design element, to create a yoga sportswear line. And y'all know I'm a yogi, so I'm going to be modeling all the clothes. I'll be doing, yoga to promote and all of the things. That's forthcoming. That's why I said I got to put myself financially in a position where I can fund and have the capital to do all of these things. But yeah, I am eventually going to create a yoga sportswear line and then probably add some t-shirts and some hoodies and whatnot, because I want to do, fly that hood element, but then blend it with ancient cultures, ancient civilizations, and the beauty of Black people, melanated people all over the world. So yes, that will be forthcoming for sure. You love what you are doing, and that's why the books are on fire. Thank you. I really, really do. I thought that too, ZaZa. You should create some merch with your graphics on it. I got you, sis. Don't get arrogant, Clarissa. Darius, I'm in a mood right now. You want to come live and have a face-to-face conversation about it? Because I'm in a mood right now. Otherwise, I'm gonna block you in my chat room for trying to create, to derail the conversation, coming amongst the righteous with wickedness. Now, if you want to have a face-to-face conversation where you can come on video and show me your face and have a conversation with me, then we can do that too. We appreciate your genius and the knowledge you impart on the world. Much love, Queen. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tamika. I appreciate you. So if you guys have any questions you want to ask, I'm not going to be live long. How long have I been talking for? 30 minutes already? Bruh. I was trying to record the video. I did like a 2.5 minute promo. But before I did the 2.5 minute promo, the first one I did, I was like, okay, I'm just going to talk for 2 minutes. Bruh, the video was 5 minutes and 50 seconds. And it literally was like time went by so fast. I'm like, how are people creating these 30-second, 60-second, 90-second? Like, it's mind blowing to me. I know it's an art and a science to it, but yeah, the video is like 5 minutes and 50 seconds. So I had to squash that and completely reshoot it in order to get it in that timeline that I was looking for. But again, if you guys have questions you want to ask me, anything in particular happening in the mainstream media, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'll probably do another updated, what do I call it? A ghetto version, a bootleg version of headline news. And I only say that because those news episodes take a lot of time and energy to put together. Putting together is like putting together a lecture. And so when I do the bootleg version, I don't have to do all that. I just come forward and we talk about whatever is going on. So yeah. Greetings, Queen. I brought a book on a sale a few months back on one of your sales. I went to check it out. If I like, I will buy a copy for my nephew. Send me an email so we can lock in. Yeah, and if you want to purchase it, now is the time to purchase because you will save a pretty penny right now. And like I said, once I'm through this pre-print production process, those retail prices are going to be what they are. I've been running sales consistently because I got a lot going on in the background to like get these books out, and I got to pay for it all. But once the books, I have my inventory on tap and everything is good to go, I'm not going to be running sales like that. So the hardcover retails for $144 and the paperback retails for $111. Once it's all said and done, that's just what it's going to be. And I'll probably do sales every blue moon. So I have some really significant savings on these books right now. So if you want to get a copy, now would definitely be the time to do so. And like I said, this paperback version, which has changed 3 or 4 times at this point, I think I have 13 proofs between these 2 books and the paperback and the workbook. I have like 13 proofs. So your girl has really been working full throttle to perfect my craft. And that's important to me and my legacy. And hopefully that is something that you guys are striving for or working for in whatever it is that you're doing right now. If you're a business owner, if you want to start a business, if you're going back to school, if you are, homeschooling your children, if you're homeschooling your children, this is an investment that you really should tap into because I've done all the work for you. And then I'm also working on the teacher's edition because that's the thing that I need to really break through into the LAUSD. So that's another thing. But yeah. Oh, wow. I caught a live stream. Yeah, Darius needs to relax because you know what I mean? I'm not really tripping, but okay, wow. I caught a live stream. The algorithm directed me here. I see you, ZaZa. Keep flowing. Much love. You're too intellectual. Says that's something that only a primitive mind would say. How could there be such a thing? This is why white people have been so significant in being able to conquer the world in the ways that they have, because they respect intellectualism. That's why they burned 60,000 books in Kemet at the Library of Alexandria, because they respect intelligence and knowledge. So if I'm too intellectual, then you can tap out quickly. If you brought it and never received it, shoot me an email and we'll get you taken care of. If you bought the paperback version, then this version, the finalized version, is still in pre-print production. So I can email you and give you a timeline of that. And if you bought the hardcover version, then we'll get that shipped out to you. Let me block this dude. Peace, kinfolk. How you doing? Much love. Peace, Tamika. Okay, I already acknowledged you. Yeah, kinfolk was good. So, any questions you guys have? Anything you guys want to talk about in particular? Let me see. I think I'm only going to be here for a couple of more minutes, and then I might go live on Instagram. I just need to make sure that I am actively keeping the algorithm, working in my favor, and also to show some love and to send you guys some righteous energy because it's definitely necessary during this timeline. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that's me. Humans are designed to create. This is why you get depressed when all you do is consume. That's a fact. I had something saved, but where did I save it? You went through hell and still showed up like nothing happened. Welcome to the 1%. Show me, universe, show me how good it can get. Show me how magical it can be. Show me how much love is available. Show me how much joy is available. Show me how safe I can feel. Show me how easeful it can be. Show me how free I can be. That's a beautiful testament. She's sick selling common knowledge books for $150. She took the knowledge from that website. What about her white side? Is that in the book too? You see, this is why, you know, when you guys wonder like why I'm not doing a lot of content or whatever, this is why, you know what I mean? Like just even having to deal with this type of shit. Why don't you shoot me an email to info@ZaZaAli.com and let me send you the live stream link, and you can come on here and show your face and say that to me directly. And let me two-piece your ass face to face real quick. How about that? No, that's not a bot. That's a human being. And if it's common knowledge, if it's a common knowledge book, then tell me who, let's see, let me just pick something for the simpleton in the room. Who was Nuwa and Fushi? Smart ass. Who was Nuwa and Fushi, if it's common knowledge? Don't worry about my white side. Worry about my God side. Worry about my godhood. Tell me who Fushi and Nuwa is. Yeah, these are humans. These are NPCs, not to be confused with a bot. You know, the NPC looks like us, talks like us, walks like us. They are among us all the time, but they don't have souls. Ask me some questions, you guys, or else I'm gonna tap out of here because I'm, you know what I mean. I don't have to deal with this type of stuff in my real life. Unfortunately, some people were not put here to evolve. They are here to remind you what it looks like if you don't. Facts. I had an article saved and now I don't even remember what it was about. Be open to rewriting the plan without losing the dream. That's a bar right there. Because I had to go back and rewrite the plan. After I spent 2 years creating this book, I had to go back to the drawing board and like really sit down and really think about what it is that I was doing and like my legacy and, you know, really honoring these different historical figures in the right, righteous way. You know, I'm always going to have good energy, even if I'm in war mode. That's good energy too. It's called balance, you know? So it's nobody going to take me off of, if I allow myself to go there, it's because I want to go there, but it's all good energy. Sometimes you got to cut the sword off, you got to cut the head off of an NPC with a sword. I'm here for that too. It's all good energy. It's all love, you know? But this is part of what I'm here for. That when I say, you know, the concept of destroying and rebuilding, some of us are here to destroy, some of us are here to rebuild. I'm here for both, you know? So every now and then I will engage this type of mindset and mentality so that we can remember that it's not all love. It was never supposed to be all love and light. And light attracts everything. I think my content and my presence in social media and my work like verifies and validates that. Because even as much as I've been through in these spaces and with these different experiences, the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, I have always attracted a consistent following that loves me, that supports me, that, you know, really values and appreciates my work, that listens to, you know, my content and takes the best part of what I have to offer. And then I've always had haters and, you know, low vibrational beings and maggots and weirdos and, you know, and NPCs. They always watch. It's always fascinating to me. I don't watch anybody online that I don't like, you know? Much love, Uriel. I appreciate you. I thought I was talking to you earlier, but this is my brother in LA. Peace and love, King. How you doing? And if she called you to be her man, you would volunteer. So act right. Yeah, that would never happen. I'd eat sand first. You know, that's really what it be, though. I know, I am aware that these people, a lot of these guys in particular, they like try to provoke me and trigger me so they can get my attention. It's weird, but I'm used to it. Thank you so much, King. I appreciate you, and I appreciate your support and showing up for me like that. You know, ask her questions. All you others can ever do is have your jaws drop over her looks. Nobody's dropping their jaws over my looks. But why don't you ask a question? All you doing is talking. Ask a question. When you are aligned with Creator, you will attract enemies for sure. Yeah, facts. Clean that bad foundation up, make the proper cornerstone. I need a little bit more context on that. I'm a girl dad with 5 daughters. I got my Teen Girls, Your Keys to Womanhood book. Please give some wisdom, Queen, on being a great father to my daughters. So that's beautiful, and I appreciate you. And this is my Keys to Womanhood workbook for those of you guys who are familiar or who are not familiar. Becoming a queen, it takes a village, a digital world, boys to men, honoring thy temple, mind, body, and soul. And all of the graphics and images in this book, by the way, are of melanated women. That was very intentional because we've been so inundated with, images of white women being the standard of beauty, which it never was for me. But I was very intentional about making sure that all of the imagery in the book validated and verified for our girls the beauty of their skin tone, the beauty of their hair texture, etc. But yeah, salute to you, having 5 girls and being intentional. Oh, this is my brother. How you doing, sir? It just clicked. I had to look at your last name. So, and since I've talked to you, I have more context in terms of, the struggle of being a father, the worries, the concerns, the fears, the doubts. But you have been charged with a very special mission in terms of cultivating the right type of mindset, the right type of energy and perspective, and a safe haven for your daughters so that they will be equipped to go out into the world and represent the type of energy, the type of womanhood, the type of daughterhood, the type of beauty that I know that we as Black women, our girls, our daughters are capable of. And I know that you and your wife have set and are continuing to set a solid foundation for your daughters to do that. And that is so critical to me because, the same way I say I'm invested in you guys, right? I'm invested in how you think, how you feel, what you're out in the world doing. I'm also invested in us investing in our daughters because it makes my job a lot easier. It's like when I talk about when I'm going into these high schools and doing this work with these young girls, I have to peel back layers of trauma and dysfunction and insecurities and lack of confidence and low self-esteem before I can even get into the nitty-gritty of the conversation, before I can even start talking about eating to live, before I can even start talking about health and hygiene and how you carry yourself and your reputation and how you deal with boys. I got to peel back layers of not trusting women because there's no women around them that are trustworthy. They got bad relationships with their mothers. The women in their family environments are not supporting them and holding them down. They're dealing with trauma. No fathers in the household. Church is chicken for dinner. All of the things, right? Before I can even start talking about those things, I have to let them know I love them. I got to let them know I see them. I have to let them know I value them. And so, like I always say, many, if not most of us have never been properly loved. So when I'm going into these schools and when I'm talking to these young girls and these young ladies, the first thing I have to do is reassure them that I'm there because I care, because I value them, because I love them, and because I see them. And as a young girl, which was my motivation for Keys to Womanhood, I was surrounded by people that either didn't see me or that were intentionally trying not to see me, which is a very difficult task because I was brilliant when I was 10. You know what I mean? It's just a fact. And all praise is due to the Most High for that because I was reared in and brought up in chaos and dysfunction. So that's a flex that I will proudly wear, So yeah, the all of that I just talked about that I have to do in disarming all of that, I wouldn't have to do that with your daughters. And that's not to say they still got things to learn and things to, insecurities. We all deal with that. But just like coming from a household with no love, yeah, I can check that off the box. Not seeing a representation of marriage and a man and a woman coming together and figuring it out and working through it and working through, your issues, her issues, all of the stuff that we all have to deal with. I can check that off the box, so it makes my job a lot easier. So I always value and appreciate you, King, and much love for being here and for always supporting me, because it does mean a lot. She did not answer the question that she asked. What's the question? Keep that higher vibration energy, Queen. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Even if I'm being fiery, it's still all love and light. Did you instill the value of short hair versus as Black women can have either or? I don't understand the question. Reframe that for me, so I can make sure I answer that correctly. What's the youngest you would say to give the keys to womanhood workbook? 11, 12. 11 and 12, because we have social media. We have a whole part about social media. We have a section on health and hygiene, and so we go through the whole your menstrual cycle. What's happening to your body during that time, and a lot of these girls, especially depending on their diet, if your daughter is eating chicken and meat with a lot of hormones and synthetic pesticides, then they're probably going to start their cycle early. And so 11, 12 years old, a lot of girls who are in the inner city or who, are growing up in a certain type of environment with bad diets and all of the things are starting their cycles very, very young. And so the section that deals with health and hygiene is particular about what's happening during your cycle, how you can decrease, cramps and pain, a lot of different resources, the type of pads and tampons and all of those things to use. Of course, we're promoting Black-owned businesses throughout. But yeah, 11 or 12. And then at that age, 13 and up would be my main focus. But at the 11 and 12 range, if we have some type of woman, an auntie or a mother or a cousin or something that can help them to kind of guide, navigate other areas of the book, yes. But you can also grow with this book. So that's the other thing about it too. Talking about how you eat, your diet, exercising, fasting, a lot of different things. And if somebody had put that book in my hand at 11 years old, knowing where I was and what I was dealing with in the world, I would have absolutely been able to work through it myself. But I remember what my state of mind was when I was 11. Like I said, I told my dad I want to be known for my mind at 11. So I was already a nerd and reading a lot and curious and interested. And that's another thing that I've been very intentional about with all of my books, is that I really want to promote curiosity. I really want to promote getting back into reading and physical books and all of the things. So once again, if you came in late, this is the final version of the paperback version of Ancient People. See how pretty it is? And I can thumb through this book easier. 265 pages, full color. I have a sale going on for the paperback version and the hardcover. The paperback is on sale right now for $88. The hardcover is on sale right now it should be $111. If it's not $111, it will be by tomorrow. But I want to say it might be $99 if that's the original sale price that I had it at. But yeah, both books are on sale right now. If you want to save an extra $8, you can cash out me your payment. And I offer that because I end up paying $8 when it comes to my website, my store. They take a fee, and then when I transfer the money to my bank, they take a fee. So I end up paying that anyway. So it's kind of like a way of me saving the money and having access to it instantly. So if you want to save $8, just shoot your payment to me via Cash App. And if you order the hardcover, it will ship this week. And if you order the paperback, I'm in pre-print production right now. I'm finalizing the manuscript. So we should have those books in inventory in about 30 days. So you'll get your book in 30 days, but you will be able to save a significant amount of money if you purchase it right now. Yeah, Chub Rock is thank you, Malik. Yes, please hit the like button. I always forget that. Did you add any of the ancient methods of growing long black hair in the book? For Keys to Womanhood? No. I didn't talk about hair in that particular book, no. I did talk about hair in Plagues of Dysfunction. And was it Plagues of Dysfunction? God, I'm on 7 books now. Sometimes I forget. Was it Plagues of Dysfunction? I talked about black hair in Plagues of Dysfunction, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Did you instill the value of short hair as black women? I see. Yeah, I think I read that already. We might have you to do a lecture at the Cleo Robertson Academy down here in Denver, Colorado, and the Storm. I would love that. Email me info@ZaZaAli.com. I would love that. I have a brother that's in a really good friend of mine that's in Colorado as well. He might be watching now, and I might be in trouble with him because I'm supposed to tap in with him. So if you're watching, King, please forgive me. I'll call you when I finish. Okay. Let me see. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss any questions. Do you plan to do any consultations? Yeah, I offer them from time to time. That's not a major focus for me right now, but every now and then I do offer consultations. If you want to sign up for a consultation, let's see, today is Tuesday, January 20th. You know, I took all of the information to sign up for consultations off my site because I stopped doing them. If you want to do a consultation, today is Tuesday, January 20th. I will offer a consultation to you, Nicole, for $75, which is 50% off, but you got to get it within the next 24 hours. And you can Cash App me, or you can, yeah, you got to Cash App it because I don't have any of the links up on my site anymore. So if you Cash App me $75, you, Nicole, or anybody else that's interested in a one-on-one consultation, I will honor that between now, Tuesday, January 20th at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and Wednesday, January 21st, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's like 12 hours. I got you. And if you make the payment, just send me an email, send me a screenshot of the payment, and I'll send you the link to my calendar. And then we can talk for an hour for $75, which is a 50% discount. But after Wednesday, January 21st at 10 a.m., that ends. So if you want to take advantage of that, if anybody wants to take advantage of that, you can do that right now. Or periodically, I will be offering consultations, but that's not going to be a major part of my work for the first part of 2026. And then eventually I'm going to relaunch my 90-day program where I'll be working with people in a more in-depth way. But that's a whole different thing than just doing a one-on-one consultation. I'm slowly but surely phasing that out. Doing one-on-one consultations, but every now and then I will offer that up. When is my next appearance on KBLA? You know what's funny about that, Nelson? You something else. They reached out to me today. I'm going to be on KBLA next Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and it's going to be a pre-Black History Month expose or interview, I should say, not expose. And we will be talking about the book, and that will be next Thursday at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time. I'll be live on KBLA, and the focus will be ancient people and Black history. So once I have the flyer and all of the details, I'll post that so you guys can tune in live. We'll be live on YouTube, but then we'll also be live on the radio on KBLA. So you are in sync with me, King. There's, that's a really interesting thing that I confirmed that interview today. And now here we are, When is your next lecture or appearance in Atlanta? Probably somewhere around the summertime. my focus was to plan a book tour initially when the book came out, but then obviously I went back to the drawing board and just completely revamped the books and completed 3 whole new books now. What was started out as 2 books is now 3 completely new books. So I paused on the book tour thing. But I am going to hit up a few cities, Atlanta being one of them, because Atlanta is, always going to be home for me. So probably somewhere around the summertime. and I'll probably do like a 7 or 8 city tour. Chicago. What city is my brother in? He's in Colorado, but he's trying to get me out there. Oakland. I would say LA, but I'm in LA, so technically, Dallas, Houston, Brooklyn, obviously, maybe Miami or Orlando or Tallahassee. I've spoken at 2 venues in Florida, Orlando and Tallahassee. I spoke in Miami too. I need to go back and look, and figure that out. And New Orleans, because my people have already tapped in with me there. So probably like a 8 or 9 city, maybe 10 city tour, for over the course of like a 2-month timeline, and then I'll just be out traveling. But yeah, that's probably when I will be back in Atlanta. I just pulled up Alchemy. I'll be in touch. Much love. Appreciate you. Can you go on Zoe's show? Yeah, actually, let me write that down because I spoke to Zoe a few years ago about doing his show. And then I don't exactly remember what happened, but I think I actually still have his phone number in my phone, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I need to tap in with Zoe because I definitely, and he's in LA, if I remember correct, right? So that could be a studio interview. Thank you for the reminder. She consciously chose to not give you energy. This hate is just confused love. It's okay to love yourself. You are seen if that's what you needed. Exactly. You see how that works? So no questions? You guys don't want to talk about anything in particular? Nothing happening in mainstream news, nothing happening in 2026. No questions. Anybody? Zoe and ZaZa will be super dope. Yeah, I think so. I have a lot of respect for him too. He's been very consistent and important in terms of like, his platform and what he stands for and his perspective on, what's going on in the world. It's important. It's important to see our brothers with their platforms that are using their platforms to, for intelligence, if you will. The Drewski sketch, I thought it was brilliant. Everybody that's out of alignment with God and with righteousness is getting ready to get set down. So we see all of these churches. They even had one of the pastors come forward and tell his flock that the Drewski, that whole skit was to, detract people from the word of God. Like all of their asses are getting ready to get set down. And in 2020, the mosques, the churches, the institutions of spirituality that fell into that fugazi, and a lot of them did, and I was talking about it consistently, are about to get sat down in a major way, and it's going to be very public, and it's going to be very, obvious to all of us that have ears to see, ears to hear, and eyes to see, because a lot of people are still going and lining up. They're still going to these churches. They see, how are you going to tell a woman, chastise a woman for giving you $1,200 when you asked her for, what was it? She gave him $1,200. He asked for $2,000. If she only gave $1,200, that means she probably didn't even have the $1,200 to give. That means she probably didn't pay a bill or save that money when she should have been putting that money towards something for her children or whatever. And to like chastise this woman in front of your whole flock, God is going to sit all of their asses down and let the dead bury the dead. I'm here for it. And so this is what I need you guys to understand about my personality. And I think all you guys already know, like, yes, it's love and light. Yes, it's keep the energy high. Yes, it's good vibrations and all of that. But we're getting ready to see the duality of God in full throttle. And that duality, which is in all of us, sometimes it takes a sword. Sometimes it takes being on the offensive in terms of, righting wrongs, speaking up for people that can't speak up for themselves, challenging institutional racism, challenging ignorance. I just saw, that was the post. Colombia just banned child sex or child marriages, right? So we still got places, and there's plenty of places in Africa too. It's not getting enough attention But I've been talking about it for a long time. There's plenty of places in Africa where, like, yeah, child marriage is still happening. We're not talking about that collectively in our culture. We're not. Why? The condition of the women in a lot of the countries in Africa and what they have to deal with. You know, we're not talking about that. So we can't just talk about the beautiful things and the good things. We got shit that we got to deal with. And so casting light in the midst of darkness, that's not always going to be flowery and perfumey and soft and cuddly. Sometimes it's going to be, you know, you got to get up in Satan's chest. So, and I say that, you know, as kind of a joke, but still, like, it's way too much weird shit, clown shit happening in our culture in particular that we're not willing to confront. And I'm just not like that. So, yeah, all tyrants, all wickedness, all evil, especially if you're doing it in the name of God, yeah, your ass is about to get set down. And good job, Drewski. He's doing a wonderful job. He's making money and all of the things, and nobody knocking him for that. Get your money, King. But he's also like using his platform. I don't know if it's intentional or if it's just doing stuff that you think is funny that will, you know, sort of pick up steam, that will trend. But either way, it's important for it to be done. And then you see, you know, you throw a rock. When you say don't throw a rock and hide your hand, or a hit dog will holler, the hit dogs are hollering. And anybody that continues to support those churches and to support those type of pastors, and you know what I mean? Yeah, you're in alignment too. It's implied consent. You just said, well, I didn't say it, my pastor said it. Yeah, but then you went back next Sunday and paid your tithes and watched him pull off in a Bentley or a Rolls Royce. You know? What about bentonite clay, sis? So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Drewski skit. I am starting the process of writing, self-publishing my first book. Any advice for an independent author? I will have a book through my own publishing house. Yeah, so that's the other thing. And I know those of you guys who have been waiting on me to finish this is I am actually creating a course, a self-publishing course for people who want to self-publish their own work. It's also going to have a course for writers in it as well. But that is for the first quarter of 2026, or I should say maybe like May, March, April, maybe like April, May. I want to have that done where I can teach people the steps from beginning to end of publishing, self-publishing your book, and then also teach you the business of self-publishing, because you don't have to be a writer to benefit from the publishing industry. I've told you guys I paid, when I first had my first book, Black Matters Volume 1, The Scientific Intervention in Our Affairs. When that book first came out, I paid somebody $1,500 to do all the things that I do for myself now. Every time I publish a book, I do everything from beginning to end outside of editing. I outsource that, but even part of the editing I do, because the formatting, somebody else is not going to be able to format my textbooks the way that I format it. So you can edit the spelling and the grammar, but in terms of the formatting process of the editing, I do all of that. So I know everything from beginning to end of what it takes to publish a book, and then as well as the logistics of the business part of it. So you can self-publish as a business owner, or you can start your own business as an independent consultant and help other people publish their books. Because like I said, this woman charged me $1,500, right? So I could be charging other people that type of money to publish through my company. And eventually I will. That's not a focus for me right now, because some people don't want to do it themselves. They just want to pay somebody else to do it, like I did the first time around. But so that is forthcoming. And that's going to be a full-fledged, full throttle sort of, here, take it. And this is everything that you need in order to get it done. But in the meantime, any advice for an independent author? I'm assuming that's not a question particular to the writing, so I won't address, you know, the writing part of it, because a lot of times people ask me about writer's block and how to actually set a book up, right? You know, just starting from scratch, people don't know where to start. I would say write about something that you're passionate about, write about something that you love. Take I always felt like when a person is reading my book, they're having a conversation with me. they're reading my mind, you know, just like when I'm reading a lot of the other books that I read, like I'm having a conversation with this person. I'm reading their mind. If I read the Bible, if I read the Quran, if I read Taoism, if I read books on Buddhism, I am having a conversation with God, you know, in various different ways. And so I take that serious. And so I would say really take that part of it serious, that someone is, you know, willing to put $20 or $30 or $144, you know, and invest in you and invest in, you know, what it is that you're offering, to really take pride and be passionate about that conversation that you're going to have with that person. And don't put the book out until it's done. I started taking pre-sales on Ancient People because I thought it was done, and it really was done at that point, until I sat down and read the book for myself, and I was like, no, it's not done. So develop a standard of the book. The Ancient People now that I produce, this book is for me. The first version of this book was for everybody else, homeschooling parents, schools, you know, the original motivation. This final book I wrote and completed for me, so it fits my standard. So write the book to your standard, you know, and don't rush, and just, you know, because your soul will give you the green light. My soul gives me the green light on when a project is done. And so just kind of respect that process and take your time with it. And yeah, remember, somebody is going to be having a conversation with you. They're going to be reading your mind. So I take that very serious, you know. And congratulations on that. And I'm very much in support of that, of the literary, you know, the ones among us that take the challenge up of writing books and creating, you know, content and poems and all of the things, but through the spoken word. Any ideas about 3i Atlas? I'm curious how everybody who talked so much about 3i Atlas feel now. You notice it's the ping pong consciousness where everybody's talking about one particular thing for a specific amount of time, and then nobody's talking about it at all. And so 3i Atlas is another one of those things where everybody was talking about it and everybody was looking in that direction, and now nobody's talking about it at all. So I'll be honest, I have peeked my head into that particular door briefly. I have some basic knowledge about it, but I am also very cynical and pessimistic about all of the institutions of knowledge in this world, including NASA, including all of the branches of the US government. I don't believe, I start off with, you know, a pessimist, not pessimistic, but a cautionary perspective. And like I said in the last Walk With Me, you know, they are intentionally trying to get people to look at the sky. It's this thing that they're doing now that they've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, because they're prepping people for this Blue Beam project. I said that backwards intentionally. Agenda that I've been researching for 20 years. I never thought they would have the audacity to pull it off, but it kind of seems like they're going to try it. And they've already built the hardware in the sky with the white lines and all of the antennas and the technology of that. So I don't know is my answer. I'm very suspicious of everything that these people say. And it's like, I've seen the reasons why people are so interested, right? So NASA is saying this, and they're showing the satellites, and they're showing you all of the sort of reason why we should be paying attention to this. But how do we know any of that is real? Especially with AI and CGI now, right? Like I was already super cautious and curious as a researcher. And now my cautiousness and curiosity as a researcher is just on 1,000. So that's something that I would really need to sit down and take some time and really look through with a fine-tooth comb before I can give it any perspective. But the fact that it's one of those things that everybody was talking about, and then it just disappeared into, you know, never land, that makes my antennas go up, you know? How do you feel about the white lady ice shot and their other dealings? Okay, so just a reminder, you guys, my Ancient People textbooks are on sale and available. The information is in the description. You can save $8 for shipping and handling if you send your payment via Cash App, a screenshot your confirmation, and email it to me, info@ZaZaAli.com. And you will save a pretty penny if you purchase your book now. Next month is Black History Month, so you can kind of get ahead of it and get your book in time for Black History Month as well. Also, I'm going to be doing an event. I need to confirm the date, but I think my next event here in LA is going to be at Baba's Vegan Cafe on February 7th. So I'll be posting the flyer for that as well. And then I'm still working on the event for girls and young ladies in Los Angeles as Soul Folks for the month of March for Women's History Month. Cash App information is in the description. Make sure you guys support what it is that I do. I've been live now for a little bit more than an hour, so I'm coming and giving you guys my time and attention. Please be sure to reciprocate. I really appreciate it. So how do you feel about the white lady I shot and their other dealings? I think that Trump, one of his primary agendas this time around was to activate the race-based consciousness at another level. And he's doing that and has done that. He's playing the perfect court gesture / antagonist. He is the most brilliant version of an antagonist I've ever seen. I mean, the movie couldn't be any better. So I think that from Obama to Biden to Trump, they've been trying to stoke this race war for a long time now. They have been stoking it. That was the Black Lives Matter program was very instrumental in that. And then the defunding the police was instrumental in that. The recalling and recanting the whole Black Lives Matter, they wrote these big ass signs on the streets, which was disrespectful to me. Black Lives Matter in Washington, D.C. And now you're protesting the fact that they're taking Black Lives Matter off the street in Washington, D.C. It's like they play a song and you guys just dance. You guys means to whom it concerns. But so we have pivoted now from the race-based aspect of this, which is still obviously ongoing, especially on the spiritual terms. But now we're in this space where the liberal versus the hardcore Republicans, and the white woman versus the white man, and the white liberal versus the white conservative. This is, another layer of the program and of the game. So when you talk about MK Ultra, when you talk about NPCs, right? When you talk about mind control, some of this is that. Some of this is, I think a lot of these race soldiers, because they come up in military backgrounds, they are primed for mind control. And so that's a thing where a statement could be made or a bell could be rung, or there's a lot of different ways where they activate people where they click and automatically go into, whatever the program is, whatever the demand or the command is. And that's the macro, right? But then you look on a microcosm, because a lot of people will say, well, that doesn't make sense. Are you saying that they're actually activating, with mind control, these people that are ICE that are going out in the communities? Okay, well, that's far-fetched, but it's not far-fetched for people to be sitting around and watching CNN and MSNBC all day long in 2020. I mean, the MK Ultra mind programming during the pandemic was absolutely mind-blowing. And 70% of the people around the world fell for that shit hook, line, and sink. So if they can activate the lower nature or deactivate your conscious mind through programming, through television, and through social media, what makes us think that they can't activate or place a command or a signal or beam of frequency or a signal, especially those people who have taken those shots that are in military and law enforcement? They can't beam a signal and then activate a certain type of energy in order for them to go out into the world and do this type of shit. So that's the sort of scientific, biological aspect of it. The other aspect is that, Trump is heavily fanning the racial fan, right? So a lot of these people, this is the other part. A lot of these agents aren't even from this country. So they're bringing people that have no empathy and compassion for American people and American culture out here to police, to serve as different types of authority and police or ICE agents. So there's that part. A lot of these people, we don't even know if they're from here. You can't even see their faces. So who and what are we really even dealing with? Is this somebody who just came back from the Middle East or who's been on a tour of duty for the last 5 years and now comes back and is desensitized to humanity, doesn't have any empathy and compassion, and now they put them in Minnesota and tell them to round up all the Latinos? These people are savages. But this is, again, why going back to that, yes, it's love and light and it's all of that, but it's also like pay attention, situational awareness, right? Because Satan is on 10. So, I'm not saying have your guard up, but I am saying, like, watch what's going on around us. I'm not participating in anybody's march for anything, because I know what these people are capable of. They use sound frequency weapons when they were doing those protests around Mike Brown and several other ones. They used them in the Dutch, this Dutch rebellion that they had. I talked about this I'm pretty sure it was in the Netherlands. They had this big protest going on. And I showed this in one of the headline news episodes. And all these people are out there and they're all, congregating and they're fired up and they're doing, and then all of a sudden the crowd just disperses. I'm talking about tens of thousands of people just split like the sea. It's a sound weapon. So the level of warfare that's happening right now, the average person doesn't even have the bandwidth to even comprehend, let alone all of the cameras everywhere that are like taking your pictures and keeping track of who's at what protest. I'm not going to none of that shit. And I respect everybody who is invested, who is supportive. The best thing I can do for the world is maintain my frequency. The best thing I can do for the world is fast continuously and keep writing books and stay on my square. And when I need to be soft and loving and flowery, I will. And when I need to have a sword in my hands, which is my pen, I'll do that too. But I know who I am. I know my purpose, right? So, the white woman is collateral damage. Because they're intentionally keeping all of these little wars. They create all these little fires. Because as long as you're paying attention to one of the little fires, they got you locked in a certain bandwidth of consciousness. Now they can put you over here with that group of people. They're irrelevant. They're neutralized. They're not going to do, all of the things. This is a very strategic and skillful element of psychological warfare that if you don't have a sovereign mind, you are not going to be able to see. So the devil is busy. And, Agent Smith from the movie The Matrix, those officers who were surrounding that car when that lady was trying to get away, this is Agent Smith, live on camera. But then we also saw Agent Smith in our families when they turned up against us and, you can't come in my house if you haven't taken the shot, you're going to kill everybody. That's what we're dealing with here. Agent Smith. That's why this is spiritual warfare at the highest level. So, it's that passage in the Bible that talks about having that mark on your door so that, the Romans, I think it was, pardon me, my biblical reference point is not as sharp as it should be. But that whole idea of having the mark on your door so that they don't come to your door, that's frequency and vibration and energy and consciousness. It's not an actual literal mark on the door. That's why when I say we've moved past the point of race-based consciousness, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't have that mark on your door in terms of your energetic resonance, your state of consciousness, I don't want to be a part of it, black, white, or other. So my thing for us is don't get caught up in the program. Black Lives Matter was a program. A lot of people got caught up in that program and was walking around saying, I can't breathe, wearing face masks, which was the dumbest shit ever. I knew then a very large portion of humanity was done. That was the craziest thing ever to me. And I think of the first time I saw him on, I saw that on, you know, when all of the protests and stuff would happen. But the first time I saw somebody in person was in Oakland, in my city of all places. Somebody walking down the street with a face mask on that said, "I can't breathe." I was like, humanity is done. What am I doing? I'm wasting my time. This is a way. It clicked in my head so clearly at that point, because that was the most just blatantly obvious, stupid thing. So I'm saying all of that to say, that's what I think about it. The divergent is on. They're splitting people into different segments of consciousness, and depend on which program works on you. If the anti-Trump program works on you, if the pro-Kamala Black women sit this out, we ain't got nothing to do with this program works on you. If the, you know, super conservative Black, you know, we just want to support Trump because he's going to lower our taxes, if that program works on you, right? If the we hate Black women, we're going to the Dominican Republic to find our queen program works on you. If the we don't want to be with Black men anymore, or we hate Black men, we don't like men, we want to go into an island of our own and not be surrounded by, if that program works on you, which is absurd to me. I don't want to be anywhere where there's no men, respectfully. I just don't want to be around clowns and peons. And the internet is full of them. So, you know, there's that. So it just depends on which program works for you. But if you see the program, which is where I am, that's my job, to talk to and to uplift and to support and to encourage the people that see the program. I'm not falling for none of that shit. The veil has been lifted. The writing's on the wall, you know? I see somebody said more sense. I think my brother is in the chat room. So if you are King, much love to you. It's very good for me to see your name. I'm tired of mainstream, but do you go into any knowledge regarding numerology? No, not really. I don't really talk about numerology a lot because it's not something that I'm super versed on. And it's just another way of interpreting. There's one way, but there's many ways of interpreting consciousness. So numerology is one way of interpreting consciousness. Natal birth charts and reading your birth charts and, you know, following the stars is one way of interpreting consciousness. Spirituality, the Quran, the Torah, well, the spiritual books and all of the wisdom that has been left for us is one way of interpreting consciousness. Studying and reflecting on history and the things that our ancestors have done and what got us to this point is another way of interpreting consciousness. Studying the physical body and the anatomy is another way of interpreting consciousness. Studying the way you think and the way you analyze things and the way you operate in the world is another way of analyzing consciousness. Studying nature, studying trees, bees, birds, the way that the universe is operating, the way that the earth is operating, the way that the sun and the moon, the way that it's all operating is another way of interpreting consciousness. So numerology is just another way of interpreting consciousness. But the flip side is, and this is how powerful we are, going back to quantum physics. And again, you guys, my Cash App information is in the description. I'm taking all love. I'm accepting all love because I am giving you my time and my energy. And then my books are also on sale. The most recent version of Ancient People, the public paperback version, is out. I notice I don't get a lot of support on YouTube anymore like I used to. And I know the algorithm messed me up when I got censored, but that's neither here nor there. What's the point that I was trying to make? Numerology. So in quantum physics, the observer affects the movement or the outcome of whatever it is that they're observing, right? So when I say consciousness creates reality, that's the sort of higher level of consciousness that I'm talking about. So if the observer, I remember I was talking to a good friend of mine who was into the I Ching, going back to the smartass that was trying to challenge me on the things that are in my book, saying that everybody knows about it. Well, Nuwa and Fushi are the original creators of what later became known as Japanese culture. And so they were also the creators of what became known as the I Ching, which is a divination system, right? And so what my brother, who was really well studied and well versed in the I Ching, as well as several other people that I've talked to since that do divination and African spirituality, The question that you ask determines the answer that you get. So this whole concept of being a priest or a priestess, like you really got to be on your shit energetically in terms of your state of consciousness to even know the right questions to ask to get the right answer. In the same way you pray and you get an answer, you pray in desperation and you get a desperate answer. Right? So the power really is with you. You're really praying and sending a prayer out. And that prayer is either going to express through your lower nature or express through your higher self. And then that's where you're going to get the answer from based on where the prayer is sent. So even in numerology, if you have a certain expectation or you're operating with a certain bandwidth of consciousness, that's going to affect the way you interpret the numbers. That's going to affect, we say 1111 and 1234 and 333 and all of the things like that affects that. That doesn't mean that you won't like organically see those numbers and it doesn't have synchronicity. But if you're looking for it, you change the nature and the trajectory of that expression or interpretation, if you will. So even with like the natal birth charts and astronomy and whatnot, and again, these are things that I am versed on, but I'm not knowledgeable enough where I'm going to sit here and pretend to be an expert. I have the wisdom to know and understand that. And I don't need to be versed in all of these things because there is a lot of different ways to interpret and to, get into the metaphysics of all of these different languages of God, which is what they are. Your perspective, your vantage point, right? If you come up in the hood, you grow up in Oakland and you grow up and start studying metaphysics, you're coming from a different interpretation and perspective when you start studying numerology. If you grow up in the caves, I was about to say caves in hillsides of Europe, but I won't even go there. If you grew up in a temple in a Buddhist monk sanctuary and you didn't have to deal with any trauma and you didn't have to deal with any dysfunction, the way you interpret these things is going to be different. So it all starts and ends with us, So that's my vantage point on that, and I hope that makes sense. They went into a Latino eatery and ordered food, then started deporting people as they left work. Yeah, and then the same thing goes for, all the Latinos, whether they are here legally, illegally, they were here, they really have access to this, all of the different arguments and, all of that. It's still going to be based on your vibrational resonance. So if you are a Latino brother or sister who's here legally or not legally, if you have a certain state of frame of mind, if you, just determine what the outcome you want it is to be, and you don't have any doubt, any fear, etc., you're not going to end up rounded up on a bus or on a boat headed back to wherever. So there's levels to this, This is why that, the only way out is within. I know a lot of people think that's like, what does that actually mean? That doesn't have any value. That doesn't have any, substance. But it's true. The only way out of this is within. So depending on where you are in your consciousness is what's going to determine if you run into, a devil in a blue dress or a blue uniform or not. That's how I feel about it. And you're protesting or marching, you putting yourself in environments that could make those things, that could increase the propensity or the probability of that, right? Because now it's not just your energy. You're in the midst of thousands of other people. There's dense frequency and vibrations. And if you are not a solid, strong vibrational being, then you're going to be affected by those things. That's why I'm tuning out of a lot of this stuff. All that hoopla about Erica and Charlie Kirk, I'm not paying attention to none of that shit. That's a program. And they're using NPCs to implement the program. I'm not impressed by any of it. I can see it coming from a mile away. He said, I wear Christian Dior because I'm a Christian. Yeah, I loved it. I was here for it. I've been digging into plasma and things like cordial Wesky clouds, which are supposed to be sentient. Would love your thoughts on sentient plasma beings among us. Okay, so I'm going to need you to give me some more context on that, because when you reference clouds, that sends my brain somewhere else. because I talked about in the last video this plasma grid that they're creating in the sky, and they're using this technology to create artificial clouds, which band together and actually create a plasma-like grid in the sky, right? So give me a little bit of more context in terms of why you reference clouds. I'm not sure what that particular Carty-Welski clouds. That sounds like one of them names though, which automatically makes my antennas go up. So give me a little bit more context on what you mean by sentient plasma, because technically all organic life is sentient, right? So give me a little bit more context on that. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Yeah, it's all happening right in front of us. We're walking through the scriptures. Nah, for real, got to come with the spiritual hands in these streets. Facts. That's what I'm talking about, Tamika. Exactly. Spiritual hands. Don't play with me. And when I don't want to deal, then you just won't see me. But don't play with me. Take off your shoes when you walk in my house. That's how I feel about all of my platforms, all of my content. Like, yeah, take off your shoes when you walk in my house. I saw the young streamer I Show Speed go to Africa and solely being curious and asking questions, exposed the Arabs defacing the Pharaoh pyramids. Yeah, I saw that too. I also saw him driving through, I forget what, it wasn't Morocco. I don't think it was Tangier maybe, or Algiers. He was driving through somewhere, and they called him an N-word and all that stuff. I mean, he's doing his thing, you know. I ain't mad at the streamers. I also think that we're way too invested in streamers in that whole world. Like, it's not. I love the fact that he is, you know, spotlighting like cultures and like moving around in the way that he is. I love that. I watch, you know, I watch that type of content where people are going into other lands and sort of showing you the way other people are living. So I'm here for that. I'm just not super excited about the whole streaming world and people having cameras on them all the time. So I'm not really tapped into it like that. But yeah, he was curious about the nose being blown off, and there have been 1,000 scholars over the last 30, 40 years that have been exposing and creating books and content and writing to like bring, you know, the Nile Valley Contribution to Civilization by Anthony Browder. He was talking about that. That book is, I think, 30 years old at this point, and he showed the images and whatnot. So I think it's great that these things are sort of coming to the forefront. It's getting a lot of energy and attention. You know, young people are starting to think about things like this outside of the box. Is it changing the state of consciousness in the people that are watching this content? Time will tell. There's my brother. Truth is becoming the frequency increasingly by day. Facts. What are your thoughts on Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels' quarrel? I think water seeks its own level. And it's fascinating how, you know, you have the podcasters battling the podcasters, the YouTubers battling the YouTubers. And I say that recognizing I've been involved in a few public, you know, fiascos. I was defending myself, but still people are always like, oh, you were beefing with so-and-so. No, I just had a clown and a peasant, you know what I mean, disrespect me. And so I had to address it. It wasn't beef. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm not really, let the dead bury the dead. That's how I feel about that. Do you have a preference in the brand of bentonite clay suppliers? The only brand I use is Head to Toe Products. And it was originally Living Clay Co., but then that company got bought out by another company. And the woman who owned and who started Living Clay Co. started her own company. And she had to change the formula a little bit. So she made the clay is a little bit, I know this because I reached out to them. I had a whole conversation. I had to make sure, you know what I mean? Because I've been promoting this clay since forever. So a lot of people have bought clay from them based on my suggestions and recommendations, not to mention my clients. So this is why I've done, they gave me the whole breakdown in terms, it's like it was this milliliters and now it's this milliliters. They basically made the clay to a smaller strand so that they are using that original strand or version, if you will, that they sold to the other company. But I've already bought it. I've been using it, so I know it's the same thing. Not Living Clay Co. Head to toe products.com. That is the only bentonite clay I recommend. If you buy Aztec clay and you think it's the same thing, it's not. That's only supposed to be for a face mask. So please do not ever put that inside your body. It's not going to heal any wounds. It's only a topical surface face type of mask. Head to toe products.com is the only calcium food grade A bentonite clay that I recommend and that I take. And that's for the physical topical application. And then that's also for taking baths in. And then that's also for drinking and ingesting. Looking to publish a children's book. Wonderful. I just finished publishing my second self-published book. Awesome. Beautiful. Congratulations. I'm here for the writers and the literature creators and the thinkers and the critical thinkers. And we are expanding consciousness, which is one of the things that we came here for. You see the Spider-Man movie coming, holograms and all. I haven't, but after Tupac came up on stage with a hologram, I knew all bets were off. And that's another sort of variation to what I talked about in terms of Project Bluebeam and the whole thing with that. So yeah, I see nobody showing me love as far as super chats, as far as it's like, yeah, I'm noticing the frequency in terms of the support in this space is different now. They're building a sphere like the one in Vegas at the MGM Grand here in DC. Can you give your opinion on that? Yeah. Originally, I didn't know that, but that's good to know. Originally, there was supposed to be another one in London, and they shut it down because for whatever reasons, I don't remember the exact reasons. I reported on this in my headline news, but those spheres are aligned with 5G antennas. So that whole big circular representation that you see in that sphere, everything within that vicinity is consistently being zapped and infiltrated and what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say magnetized, but that's not it. Zapped, for lack of a better word, with that energy. But remember, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, remember all of those. Sometimes I sigh because I feel like I'm reporting myself because I've been talking about this stuff for so long. It's just kind of like, and I always feel like there's always a part of me that's just like, you're wasting your breath, people aren't listening. And I have to get beyond that. But when I was reporting on the fact that people were going to these concerts and they were losing their memory, and I went and started looking at these really, really, really big screens that they were using for the concerts, and both Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and we both know both of them are major sort of faces and representatives of, the quote unquote elite, the wicked elite, not to be confused with the righteous elite, which is who I represent. But yeah, when I started looking into these huge screens that they were, and even at all the festivals, they all have 5G antennas. They have millions of light bulbs, and every single light bulb is attached to a 5G antenna. When Travis Scott did the Astroworld concert, the stadium that they were in Houston, I'll never go to that stadium, but that stadium has 5G technology laced underneath every single seat in the stadium. Now, if you've done the knowledge to what those antennas are and what that technology is, then you already know where I'm going with this. And I'm not going to get into that because that wasn't the question, and also because I'm just not about to get into that. So the same way I've been focusing on that sphere in Vegas, my members will tell you I've been talking about that for like a year and a half, 2 years now, because I think that is one of those sort of monuments that they are using to activate people, to control people, particularly people who took that Jim Jones juice. They have a technology in their blood system that is particularly activated or affected by the wavelengths that come from those towers. So it's not just the towers now. It is also the antennas and the technology that they are putting in these screens in order to make something like a sphere actively work. So you think about all the people who go to Vegas and that are on the strip that are in a close proximity to that sphere. It's all relative. I started looking at Three Eye Atlas late in the game through Ray's astrophotography on YouTube, and David Serrata shows connections of Three Eye Atlas and Giza Pyramid and Mary Magdalene temples. So there is a resource for you guys that are interested in that. If you want to look into that reference, that might be something that you are interested in. I've been so intrigued by CERN and MIT experiments. Do you believe the time-space continuum has been compromised? Yes. I do. Are we too detached to be engaged with this? Are we too attached, read lazy, to be engaged, disciplined, studious with this failing system? That question feels like it's not grammatically correct. Because if we're too detached to be engaged, yeah, word that for me where I can process that right. Because I'm not really quite sure what it is that you're asking, especially because you put those words in parentheses. So if you could just make that a clear, concise question for me so I can make sure I answer it correctly. It ain't no love. Okay, never mind. Biocaustic weapons have been used for a long time. Remember Havana syndrome? Yeah, they have been using that technology. Even when the Rwandan genocide, and those of I did the Kingdom Within web series. I did a 7-hour lecture where I went into all of this, but then I also have, again, in my headline news episodes, I've done plenty of presentations about this, what happened in Rwanda and how they use this particular jet C-130 that has beams of particular frequency. They mount this I forget what it's called, but it beams a certain frequency. They mount it on this particular plane, and then they beam the frequency down over the people of Rwanda when they were out in the streets protesting and reacting to the president and the whole entire cabinet being taken out in a alleged plane crash. And the anger and the frustration of the people, and that combining that with the beam that they let off from that plane magnified the anger and the frustration and the intensity and caused a quote unquote civil war that is alleged to have killed 1 million people. So the frequency wars is happening on a very high level. Yep, very strategic. This is why I tell people to get off that Trump was right to kidnap Maduro. That's just another program. This is the same way that all of these Venezuelan immigrants just all of a sudden start coming to America and they let them in. And I was like 2 years ago, like, Venezuela, what the hell? Like, we know, okay, Mexico, we have the ongoing things, the Haiti, and, there's certain places where immigrants are consistently trying to get into America from. That's a common consensus. But Venezuela, that's a whole different trek to get to America. So when that was happening, I was like, okay, this is a part of the play. So as soon as this happened, I was like, yeah, this is part of the program. How do you feel about the Galactic Federation and their sentiments on planet Earth's current state? I'm more akin to the Elohim. I'm more akin to the 12 major and 12 minor scientists. The Galactic Federation is a new concept of, a group of beings, so to speak. The thing that always bothers me about that is that they're always represented as white. And that's where, you know what I mean? The representation, I can't get past that, right? So, and I know it's more than just those white representations, right? It's supposed to be a conglomerate of sort of beings that represent all of the nations and the universes or the galaxies, if you will. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to. I have to think about that. People have worn masks in airports for decades. Yeah, and they've been smothering their lungs and affecting their neurological systems and damaging their health as a result as well. And this is why a lot of the Japanese and Chinese cultures in particular, who have been wearing those blue masks in particular, which have a whole nother dynamic to them, which I will digress about. But this is why a lot of those people are very complacent, because their brains are not operating at full capacity because they're smothering their lungs. I hope I didn't seem like I was being combative about that, but it just is what it is. What's up, cousin? How you doing, JB? Yes, please like. Thank you so much. They just added Nicki Minaj in the hologram of the Kurtz. I mean, I just, she's playing her position. They're all playing their position. I don't believe any of these people. I'm not impressed by any of this shit. It's just like, I'm just looking at a circus. I just don't want to be in the circus. So I will observe from the sidelines when I feel like I want to engage, but I'm not going to be a part of the circus. Nicki Minaj is absolutely a part of the circus. And to be honest, she's probably under some level of mind control herself, particularly because she used to be making sense. She used to be saying some things that needed to be said, i.e., what was it? Her nephew or somebody that lived in the Caribbean took the shot and his testicles blew up. Remember all the flack she got from that? And ever since then, it's been weird with her. She'll say something and drop some jewels every now and then, even how she was going at Jay-Z and like exposing them. Like, there's an element of her that I feel like is trying to fight for something righteous. But then your name is Nicki Minaj, boo. You're representing a low vibrational sexual energy, and at the same time marrying it with a Barbie doll. So you are presenting a very low vibrational sexual energy through your music, through your lyrics, through your physical representation, how you carry yourself, all of the things. And at the same time doing it using Barbie dolls, which is for girls age, 4 and up? So that's why I could never really fully rock with her. I can't never really fully rock with any of these chicks that are representing this image and this position and this posture that is damaging the psychological and the confidence in the way that our daughters, Black girls in particular, are carrying themselves. So let the dead bury the dead. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate you. Somebody in the YouTube world loves me. I appreciate you. NPCs means non-playable characters. If you play a video game and you are the main character and you're controlling your player, but all of the other images and characters and people in the background, those are non-playable characters. They're going to do the exact same thing every single time. So let's say you learn in the game, you're on level 1. So you got to die 5 or 10 or however many times before you end up getting through the game. So you start at point A and then you end up at point Z. Well, from point A to point Z, there's 100 different characters. Maybe the other character riding a golf cart, the car driving next to you, depending on what type of game you're playing. But everybody that's not an actual human being controlling the game or controlling their character is a non-playable character. They don't have any real power. They're not doing anything, autonomously. They're only doing what they're programmed and put into the game to do. And we're surrounded by them. Good evening, beautiful. I've seen you found the fountain. You're getting younger. You've got that Benjamin Button. That's what being plant-based for 20 plus years does. That's what yoga does. That's what fasting does. That's what being in this world and not of this world does. Like, I take really, really, really good care of myself, and I have for a long time now. My workout game right now is stellar. I'm probably in almost the best physical condition of my life. By the time summer gets here, yes, this is gonna be a situation in terms of my physical, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm in the best shape of my life. Almost not the best, but I just intentionally have been taking care of myself and taking my health and well-being very seriously. Have I ever been married? No. I have been engaged to be married, but that didn't work out, thankfully. They always preview the blueprint in popular media. Facts. Okay, so I'm catching up, you guys. I'm behind on the chat room, so pardon me. I'm catching up now. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. They can hack frequencies with those fears. I can see that. Thank you so much, my brother, for the super chat. Mr. Ballard, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Malik. I appreciate you for the super chat. Super sticker. Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you for the super sticker. As long as y'all show me love, I listen. I'm showing y'all love. You guys show me love. It's reciprocal. It's all good. I feel detached sometimes, but it's because of dissatisfaction with work for me. I get depressed. I'm stuck in a contract. What's causing you detachment? Just politics? Okay, so is that a question for me, or is that I'm not really sure what the question is. Because what's causing me I'm clean that. Give me a little bit more context on that. Japanese seem lost without direction, giving it their power to the government. Exactly. They've been wearing the masks for 10 years. It does have an effect. Your oxygen, when you understand oxygen and what it does to the body, wearing a face mask, I'm so sorry. And I'm not saying there's not, if you, especially if you're in a smoke type environment, you're dealing with a fire type situation or something like that, or there are certain instances where masks would be appropriate for a limited amount of time. Wearing a face mask for 8 hours a day while you're at work or, traveling or whatever, when you understand what oxygen does to the body, and I knew automatically, no, I'm not doing that. Now I had my, the things you can, the survivor type of those bandana things. I would just have one of those and I would just pull it up around my face like this, right? If I had to go somewhere where I had to wear a face mask, and then half the time I'm walking around the store, I'm pulling that down anyway. I'm just too rebellious for all of that shit. I'm just too rebellious. I'm not wired for that. Plus, I know how oxygen works. This is and now look, and you guys that have been following me know I said, watch how many neurological, yes, but that respiratory illnesses are getting ready to start taking place. And lo and behold, every other day there's a new respiratory issue. People coughing, they got mucus they can't get rid of. Like, bruh, 1 + 1 is 2. So I say I knew humanity was cooked when they convinced you to put them damn masks on. Because because the mask is going, you're sitting in a restaurant with a mask on until they bring your food. Get the fuck out of here. Excuse my language. I get triggered. I'm never gonna let that die down. Not ever. It's insane. Yep, hive mind. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Man, what a crazy time. I can't believe we all experienced that. And we're all like, we're all in this PTSD space, to be honest. I think we're all suffering from PTSD from going through that experience in that situation. But I ain't gonna ever forget. I'm not, listen, the Scorpio, yes, the way my brain works, I'm not ever gonna forget. I'm not saying I'm holding on to it like I'm waiting for revenge. No, the revenge is already unfolding. Nobody needs to seek revenge. You know what I mean? You make a decision and a choice, you gotta live with the results, right? But that's when I really was like, oh my God. There's really a very small number of us on this planet. And that's really when it became less about race and more about consciousness for me, because and even a lot of the people that I was following and listening to at that time turned out to be racist rednecks. And you can find your corner in the devil too, right? But Yeah, I just was like, oh my God, this is way more serious and dangerous. I started realizing how close the people to us were, how dangerous they were. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have anybody turn up on me, but I had a few experiences that was standing outside when I first came to LA, and I was standing outside of a Kinko's copies, I think it was. I needed to go in and make some copies or do something. So we all standing outside. They got the 6 feet separation, blah, 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 all of that. So I'm standing outside, and this girl that looked like she was probably 22 or something like that tried to tell me to put a face mask on while I'm standing outside. And when I was in Manhattan Beach, when I went to the beach first, I'm walking outside, and these two little pencil neck white boys come up to me and ask me to put a mask on. Yeah, sure, no problem. And just spent off and walked right past them. So the girl, I'm trying to be cool. I'm standing in line, and she's like, "Can you put your face mask on, please?" Mind you, I don't do face masks, but I got my little survivor buffer thing, right? So I need to get in this place, so I'll do what I got to do. But and the blue masks and the N95, hell no, that's a whole nother conversation. But she tried to jump bad with me. Oh, why she do that? She'll probably never do that again. And I was diplomatic and kind and cordial and all of the things. But like, sis, you have absolutely no authority on anything over here. You need to slow. Yeah, I had to put her in her place. But I didn't really have a lot of experiences like that because people just don't mess with me. They don't, you know what I mean? They just don't. Even the white boys at Manhattan Beach. Even when I was with my friends, and I had just came from Atlanta, and so I was with a group of friends. We went to, I think it might have been Venice Beach. And so we're walking, and they all got their face masks on because they're scared and because they've been programmed. And I'm like, what? So we walking past some police that are like set up, they got their cars set up. They're like sitting on the boardwalk somewhere in that area. And I can tell that as we get closer to the police, they're like distancing themselves. Let me sit up. I'm getting a little too lax. They're like distancing themselves from me, right? Like trying to be like, oh, if the police say something to her, we don't want to be too close. And I'm peeping all of this and in my mind, I'm just like, wow, I don't know any of these people anymore. And of course, police never said anything to me because give me a reason. Please give me a reason to get into the science and the technology. Because I at that point too, I was so heavily researched that you guys know when that stuff was going down. Listen, I was in the trenches researching, fact checking everything. I got censored, all of the things. But I'm just saying, like, I was in that frame of mind. I wish somebody would try to challenge me on this. Yeah, that's why I say sometimes it just takes a sword. From your comments, person said they were too detached to read, studying. I was trying to understand. Okay, from your comments, person said they were too attached to read. Oh, okay, so you're addressing somebody else's context. Yeah, no, I'm not ever too detached to read or study. I don't even know what that means. If there was no oxygen, you wouldn't be able to see through your orbitals. That's how deep it goes with oxygen. Yeah, it's a man. Breathing in hella fibers and messing up your cognition. Exactly. This whole thing was a train wreck. Side note, ZaZa makes pretty look easy for real. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you. So yes, 100% to your point, right? And so the whole process of breathing in and breathing out, when you breathe in, you have nose hairs and you're this kind of thin lining here because this is a filtration process. So as you breathe in, you're filtering out any toxins, any particles. And as you breathe out, you're expelling the negative toxins and particles, not just from what you breathe in, but that's in your bloodstream, that's in your body. So if you're breathing it in and breathing it out through a mask, you're breathing it back in and breathing it back out and breathing. It's just like, bro. It's just, if I get triggered even just thinking about it, I couldn't believe it. The great split, exactly. That's exactly what it was. Thank you so much, Dre. I appreciate you for the super chat and the love. I've had a bunch of conversations lately with people very distraught over politics. So I was wondering if it was stress from geopolitics. Oh yeah, I'm sure. People are people are seriously stretched. Man, I was having a random conversation. I don't even remember where I was, and that Charlie Kirk thing came up. And so, people talk to me all the time. It's just a thing. They, strangers, people who know me, I always end up in conversations. And most of the time I'll kind of just not really engage. I'll just stay on a surface level. So I'm in a surface level conversation with a stranger. I don't even remember where I was at this point, but the Charlie Kirk thing came up. And we went from me and this person have a conversation, and there was somebody else standing close by that was like kind of listen, but still, doing their, I think I was in a coffee shop, actually. I was. Somebody close was like, I could tell they were listening, so when the Charlie Kirk thing came in, now he wants to add his 2 cents, and now he adds his 2 cents. So the lady that's in the table directly to us, now she done turned her chair around and she's positioning herself towards me. She's just waiting for the minute, double dutch. You waiting for the minute to jump in, right? She waiting for her opportunity to say something. And I'm just sitting back looking like, look at these NPCs. No disrespect, I got jokes, y'all. So I ain't even saying, but I just, in my mind, it was like, I just stopped talking. It was just listening for a minute because I'm so checked out from all of that. It was just a moment where I was like, wow, like my birthday when Trump got selected, not elected, but selected. And everybody in LA was just like the tension, they were scared. People were crying. And I was like, man, I'm not in none of that. Like, I'm so far removed from all of it. None of this is affecting me. I don't care who gets selected. I was so far removed from it, right? So you come back to DHS, ICE, Epstein, tariffs, right? And the brother, I forget his name. It's like American something. He wears glasses. He's a Muslim, but he's always talking about, he be dropping jewels. I forget his name, but I'll share his content in some of my videos. But it was basically like, you guys are all wild up about the Epstein list. So what? If they release it, what are you going to do? Nothing. We know that there is millions of children that are going missing in the world actively on any given, all around the world, countries all over the world, including Africa, right? We don't talk about that enough, but what are you going to do about it? Why do you need the Epstein list to be released in order for you to get activated and to actually do something about it? And I was just like, that's real. Like, it's a program. It's just a program. Which part of the program sticks? Which part do you get snagged on? Which part are you interested in? Yeah, the divine in plain sight. Facts. I got censored on my channel too. Yeah, I paid a really, really, really heavy price for that I'm really just now rebounding from. The algorithm is still playing games with me. I lost a lot of money from that censorship. My book sales, anyway, I'll get triggered. Let me just, whew. Yeah, no. Exactly. Thank you. I went and bought Under an Ionized Sky the day after you mentioned it in a live. Cold shit. Yes. And that book is somewhere close to me because I keep it close. Ilana Freeland is one of my go-tos. When you read that book, and it's not even a book to read, it's like a textbook to study. Yeah. I'm glad you bought the book. I was about to order something from Montgomery Ward, and do you know they tax us on tariff? Montgomery Ward still exists? I didn't even know Montgomery Ward still exists. It's got to be only online, right? They still have stores. They tax us on tariffs now. I didn't know that, but I do know because I'm doing business with China. I have several projects where I'm the girl is in her creative bag, y'all. That's a side note. I have several projects that I'm doing with China, so I've had to figure out the way that whole situation is working. And so the business owners are paying up front off top, and then the consumers are paying on the back end. So that doesn't surprise me at all. And the government is getting paid 2 or 3 times. They're getting paid every way. People need to be told what to think. It's a validation thing to feel like they belong so they aren't ostracized from society. Facts. All disrespect, it is what it is. Yeah, that's real talk. Any more questions, you guys? Anybody else want to ask me anything? Thank you so much those of you guys for the super chats. I'm really trying to take advantage of for you guys to take advantage of these book sales again. This is my paperback version of Ancient People. Isn't it pretty? Isn't it colorful and vibrant and lovely? Okay, your girl has been busy. 265 pages, full color, 450 plus images. It's on sale. The paperback version is on sale right now for $88. It's not going to get any lower than that. And as soon as I get this out of print production, it's going back up to $111. And then the hardcover version is on sale as well. If you want to save $8 for shipping and handling, cash at me your payment and send me the receipt. And if you order the hardcover, I will ship that out to you this week. If you order the paperback, we're looking at about 30 days for production time. And then I also have the paperback version in the pre-production process right now. I had to clean some because I can't. It's a puzzle, so I can't really finish the workbook all out until I finalize the books because they go hand in hand. Am I single? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Let me say it with my chest. Intentionally single, happy single, but I've turned my antennas for love back on in recent days. So do with that what you will. But it's been off for a long time because I've been in the zone focusing on myself. So, but yes, I am single in the best way though. What are your thoughts on the teachings and works of Dr. Amos Wilson? Amos Wilson. I love Amos Wilson. I am an avid student of his teachings. I probably don't mention him a lot because that was a time when I was like super in the, Black Power, Black revolutionary space where I was studying a lot of Amos Wilson, Frantz Fanon, John Henry Clark, Chancellor Williams. I was in that zone where I was really kind of taking all of their teachings in and putting it into my content and work and whatnot. I'm a lot more spiritually focused and spiritually based now, but I am an avid student of the teachings of Dr. Amos Wilson and very thankful for his life and for his legacy, for sure. I know that's what I said. Montgomery Ward is still a thing. I appreciate you, Malik. Much love. He's still saying that we'll pay. Must be dementia or Alzheimer's or Listen, Trump's not running anything. The minute you see the president go kiss that wall with that small hat on his head, the minute you see them do that, the writing's on the wall. You know what I mean? He's not running anything, but he's playing a wonderful role. He's the useful idiot. He's playing a wonderful role of the antagonist. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The theater of it all is just absolutely brilliant to me. I still got your Science of Self workbook all these years later. I really appreciate it. I'm going to put my Cash App in here real quick because I don't remember if I put it in the description. If you want to purchase the book through and save the $8, that's the information right there. Screenshot your payment and send it to me at info@ZaZaAli.com. And if you order the hardcover, I'll get that out to you this week. And if you order the paperback, you're going to save like $24. If you order the hardcover, you're going to save like $44 right now. And if you can't send your payment by Cash App, you'll save an additional $8. So I am doing my best to make this available to you guys and to get this book out into the world. OC, Kufur, and Anna. I don't know who those people are, but I definitely know what that SP is. And I definitely know that it is partially is relative to the white lines in the sky. It's relative to the blue masks and the N95 masks. It's relative to those antennas, those 5G towers and the cell towers and the activation and the frequency activation. Is relative to crossing the blood-brain barrier. Is relative to weaponizing any illnesses in the body. This is why, quote unquote, turbo ... cancer is at an all-time high. This is why, I say weaponize people's sicknesses, because that SP that you referenced there is going into the body and exasperating any illnesses, any diseases, any physical conditions, things that are lying dormant in the body. It's bringing it all to the surface. So yeah. Yeah, he's definitely following a script. And I think that give him leeway because, again, he represents the perfect useful idiot. Like, all he has to do is hold a press conference and all of a sudden everybody's all up in arms. And it's this, it's theater, it's chaos. A lot of this stuff is boring to me because I can see it coming. My goal is just to not be, I'm not going to be a part of the circus. I recognize the program as it's unfolding. My goal is to represent truth, to represent intelligence, to represent the original people of the planet, high vibration, spiritual sciences, intellectualism, high levels of consciousness, the power and beauty of being a woman, the power and beauty of being well-read and being informed, the power and beauty of knowing your purpose. I know for a fact I'm walking in my purpose. I know for a fact I'm doing exactly what I came here to do. How many people can actually say that? And that's why a lot of people are lost, because they have confined themselves to a life and a lifestyle or relationships or jobs or businesses that are not aligned with their purpose. And this is the timeline for authenticity. And so if you are dedicated to, loyal to anything that is not aligned with your purpose or your higher self, the days forthcoming are going to be very difficult. Just like the 2020 to 2025 was very difficult for a lot of people. A lot of creatives and artists that want to focus on their work and creating and their passions, but have been stuck in focusing on money and being sidetracked from what they really truly desire and want to do. If they stuck to it, then the abundance and the finances is about to come. If they didn't stick to it and and divert it from it, then there's another element of that. Accepting all love. My Cash App information is on the screen. I watched that Diddy documentary. He's a creep. During Novid, he had the nerve to say he didn't want Black people touching him. That was so disrespectful. Well, think about all of the celebrities and athletes that push that poison. I never saw him do that. And creep for sure. Like, yeah, he's living in his, he's paying the price. He doing time. Let the dead bury the dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's getting his. He's a creep. He's getting what a creep deserves. I'm just wondering when all these celebrities and Black celebrities and politicians and social media commentators who was pushing that poison, when they're going to get their day. Because again, I'm not never, It's the problem. It's the problem. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do that. It's pageantry, exactly. It is truly boring, even to the point of being corny now. Facts. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you and welcome. Extremely boring. Its wife won't even stand next to it more than half the time. He is definitely an it. I see no soul. I see people eating strange, unusual looking meats and vegetables from the grocery stores every time I visit family and friends. Seems like everyone is full of extra fluid. Pans filled with extra fluid. Yeah, it's a lot going on with the food. It's a lot going on with the food. I could go into a whole nother conversation about that. It's a lot going on with the food. I mean, just the fact that we have oranges and lemons and things, grapes now with no seeds, that means the fruit and the food can't reproduce itself. And if the fruit and the food can't reproduce itself, and then we're at the same time talking about how the level of semen in the average man has dropped to a very low level, the rate of miscarriage, the rate of women being able to conceive children, it's all relative. It's all relative. They're putting herpes in chicken. That's a new one to me. I haven't heard that. That is a new one to me. But I do know that there is a very large uptick in herpes, as well as what is it? I think mumps, measles, that family of that same sort of there's a word for it, that disease, for lack of a better word, but there's another verb. There's like it's under the same umbrella. Measles, mumps. There's another one too, but then herpes. So a lot of people have herpes that's dormant in their bloodstream. So a lot of the people who took the shot now are having these things. They're not dormant anymore. They're active. So there's that. So I don't know. I don't even know how they would put it in the chicken. That's an interesting concept, but yeah. So once again, you guys, I have a sale, Ancient People Volume 1, hardcover, paperback. You can save a lot of money if you make your purchase right now, today. And you can also save $8 if you send your payment via Cash App. I'm going to make sure, I think I put the description. I know I put it. Let me just do this real quick. Let me handle my handle, okay? Because I be so in the zone that sometimes I forget. There is the link to my store. Why did that come up like that? So you can go right there and get your copy right now, and you can purchase directly on the website, and then, you will get your order shipped if you order the hardcover within a couple of days. And if you order the paperback, we're looking at a 30-day timeline to get through print production. But that's beautiful because you're going to save an additional $23 when you make your purchase anyway. And if you purchase via Cash App, you'll save an additional $8, which makes that a $31 saving. The hardcover, you save on the sale price, plus you save an extra $8. So yeah. Moral of the story is, I hope you're taking care of yourself. Exactly. I was already allergic to chemicals and snacks and junk. Now I'm afraid of soul foods from family. Yeah, well, you cooking with pork, the probability of me eating at your house is extreme, next to none. So there's that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much to my family for the super chats, for the love. I appreciate you guys for valuing my time and my energy with reciprocity. It really means a lot to me because I've sat with you guys for more than 2 hours now. And I hope you have benefited from this conversation. I hope you have, been able to take your mind off whatever was stressing you or you were worrying about and just kind of tap into a mutual, collective, cohesive conversation and take the best part, and anything that doesn't radiate or not radiate, resonate with you, you can leave that. And yeah, all my information is in the description, and I appreciate you guys for the support, and I will see you beautiful people very soon. Peace and love.